Hi, I'm PrepperMark, and this is a video response to a question that someone had asked on my high tunnel video. They want more information about what a high tunnel is, how much they cost, and where to get them. So I'll try to give them as much information on high tunnels as I can. First, a high tunnel is sort of like a greenhouse, but a high tunnel is covered with plastic instead of glass like a greenhouse is. High tunnels come in different styles and different sizes. You can get a high tunnel anywhere from a 10 foot by 10 foot to a 40 foot by 300 foot with 4 foot, 5 foot, or 6 foot high sidewalls and center heights of 10 feet and up. And you can get them even bigger if you want. The one you see here I designed myself for what I needed it to do. It's 20 foot wide by 72 foot long. It has 8 foot high sidewalls and a center height of 11 foot. You can buy high tunnel kits that usually has everything you need, including instructions, and they will ship them right to your front door. The only thing that won't be included is the lumber you need, but you can get that locally. You can put it up yourself with some help, have the company where you bought it do it, or hire someone locally to put it up. I built the one you see here by myself and had my son help me put the plastic on. The plastic only lasts about 4 years, so every 4 years you will need to replace it. But the rest of the high tunnel should last you a lifetime. And make sure it's a nice calm day when you put the plastic on, or the wind will get a hold of it and you will have major problems putting it on. High tunnels cost anywhere from a couple $100 to millions, depending on the size and what all you do to them. The cheapest high tunnel you can make is a hoop house. It's made out of PVC pipe, and you can make one of these for just a couple $100. They're usually 10 foot wide and 20 to 30 foot long. Usually a high tunnel costs between $10 a square foot to $20 a square foot, depending on what all you do to it. The one you see here cost me $12,000 with everything I've done to it. You can put a high tunnel up anywhere because it's not considered a permanent structure. Most high tunnels are anchored 3 feet into the ground with anchor poles to add strength to the sidewalls, plus keep them from blowing away. They also make high tunnels that are on a rail system that you can move off your crops when the temperatures get warmer and then move back over your crops when it gets colder. Because of how rocky the ground is here, my high tunnel sits on top of the ground and is anchored with heavy-duty stakes and tied down with ropes. Because I done it this way and the way I made it, I can take it down and put it back up somewhere else. High tunnels will withstand winds up to 60 miles per hour, but anything higher than that, good luck. I had a high tunnel that got tore up in a bad storm a few years ago. The wind was blowing 50 to 60 miles per hour all day long. Then around 3 that afternoon, we had a downburst with winds 90 to 100 miles per hour, and those winds just destroyed my high tunnel in no time. If you live in an area that gets snow, then you need to make sure the high tunnel you get can hold a snow load. If you get one that won't, then your high tunnel will collapse with the weight of the snow. Now, the high tunnel here won't hold the weight of the snow. When it gets 4 or 5 inches of snow on it, I have to come out and clean the snow off. Because I designed this high tunnel for what I needed it to do at the cheapest price, I still have a few bugs to work out, and that's one of them. But I do have a plan to fix that problem. The nice thing about high tunnels is you can still grow your crops right in the ground. High tunnels usually have big doors on the end so you can drive a tractor into them to plow your soil, or with smaller high tunnels, you can get a rototiller in. I didn't put big doors on the end of my high tunnels because I didn't need them. With high tunnels you can plant your crops earlier, then when it gets warmer out, just roll up the sides, keep them rolled up during the growing season, and when it starts to cool down at the end of the growing season, you can unroll your walls and extend your growing season. You also can heat your high tunnels and grow fruits and vegetables year-round. The best way to heat a high tunnel is to use wood. You can also use propane, natural gas, electric, or oil heaters, but wood is the cheapest. I have a sawmill right next door, so I buy slab wood for $25 a bundle. There's around 3/4 of a cord of wood in a bundle, and usually one bundle will heat my high tunnel for a week, so you can't beat that. In the daylight hours, the sun will heat my high tunnel, and usually I don't have to heat it during daytime hours. If it's 20 degrees outside, then it's around 50 degrees in my high tunnel without any heat on. But when the sun goes down, then the temperatures in my high tunnel will drop like a rock. So I have to make sure I'm ready to get my fires going around sundown. Now let's go take a look how I heat my high tunnel. Now I use barrel stoves to heat my high tunnels. I thought about putting in a wood burning furnace or a wood burner, but using barrel stoves was the cheapest way to go. Each barrel stove with the chimney pipe cost me around $200 and they work great. I have a barrel stove at each end of my high tunnel because there's a lot of space in there to heat. Now the downside is every couple of years I have to replace the barrels, but that's no major biggie. The barrels only cost me $15 a piece. The bottom barrel is where the firewood burns, and then the smoke goes up through the top barrel and then out the chimney. This way I get more heat and lose very little heat out the chimney. And then I have a fan above each barrel stove to circulate the heat. And there's my fan. Now let me zoom right out here. I build raised beds in here to grow my tomatoes in. The reason I did it this way was my ground is about 70% rocks and 30% soil. I picked so many rocks out of the area that I rototilled that when I closed my eyes I still seen rocks. So I decided from now on anything else I grow was going to be grown in raised beds. And the second reason why I grow with raised beds is because the soil is in the raised beds, then it should be warmer than when it was in the ground. So this should help things grow better in the wintertime. Now I tried different soil mixes for my raised beds, but I found mixing 50% topsoil with 50% Miracle-Gro potting mix worked the best. It's very expensive, but it doesn't compact so the roots of your plants can grow easily. It drains good. There's a lot of air in the soil for your roots of your plants, and it holds moisture and nutrients. Now each raised bed cost me about $400 a piece to make, and I have 7 of them in here. Now if you grow your crops right in the ground, then that's a big chunk of money you're gonna save. In the high tunnel I will grow 277 plants, and usually I would be growing tomatoes in here right now, but in the middle of October I got a disease in here and it killed all my plants in a week. My plants were 5 foot tall at the time, just starting to get tomatoes that were about ready to be picked, so I wasn't happy. Now I'm letting the soil in here freeze good, and hopefully that will kill the disease. Then at the beginning of March I'll put tomato plants back in here, and if everything goes right, by the middle of May I'll have tomatoes again. Now you see all the strings hanging down in here. That's because I grow my tomato plants vertically and pinch off all the suckers. Then the main plant goes right up the string, and all the energy goes into making tomatoes and not into a bunch of leaves. And when the tomato plants reach the top of the strings, I can lower them and they will keep growing. You can grow anything you want in the high tunnel. Things like tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, sweet success cucumbers, special type of zucchini. You can grow year round because they are self-pollinating, or any other crop that it might be self-pollinating, or don't need pollinated at all. Other plants that need pollinated by bees, you can either hand pollinate them, buy bumblebees to pollinate them, which is expensive, or just plant your plants a month earlier than you normally do, and when they get to the point where they need to be pollinated, hopefully be time to roll up the walls and the bees can do it naturally. Now pretty soon everything is going to be grown in high tunnels. With high tunnels you can control the weather. If you get a rainy season, then your plants are protected from getting too much water, and if you get a really dry season, then you don't have to worry about your plants because they are already getting irrigated. The big commercial growers have irrigation systems that are computer operated and gives each plant just the right amount of water and nutrients. And usually they grow their plants in grow bags with coconut husk as the soil. They send leaves of the plants off to labs so they can be tested. Then the labs tell them how much and what kind of nutrients to give their plants, and then the computer does it all. It's state of the art. So I would recommend that everyone that has the space to put up a high tunnel do so. Now for personal use, you would only need a high tunnel about 20 foot by 20 foot or 20 foot by 30 foot, and you can keep it simple. You can get the size for between $2,000 and $3,000 by just keeping it simple. Or you can start off with a simple hoop house that's 10 foot by 30 foot. for probably around $700. And then you can grow fruits and vegetables year-round, and there's nothing better than fresh-grown produce in the middle of the winter if you live in a cold weather climate. Now, I'll list a couple places that sell high tunnels down below. I think that's about all I can think of right now. I want to thank you for watching. God bless. Take care.